So today we're going to be joining together some parts and we're going to be making sort of a steampunk torch, but out of just random bits that we've got. So starting with some old things and turning them into something and making it a little bit functional. Right. So, biggest thing today, obviously got a little pen torch there, that's going to help. That piece we already know fits really nicely in there. Fits really nicely in that piece there. And that's going to give us a nice light, and we might even do some form of crystal or something. So we're going to be making something and it's going to be fun. So our first port of call is we're trying to work out what the range of connections is. So this piece goes onto here. We want this sort of connect to here and this piece to connect to there. Now these threads are slightly different, so we're going to solder these two pieces together, solder those two pieces together, and then that should be everything. We might look at soldering some extra details. So first thing is going to be just removing any grease from these parts, because we don't want there to be anything that's going to stop the solder from sticking. And same on this little guy here. Now, currently the soldering iron that I'm going to be using is this little, wrong way again, this little pen iron here. So it takes a little while longer to heat up things, but that's going to be really helpful actually, I think, in doing some of these smaller scale things. So, got that. Second tool of the day is our solder. We've lost the plunger for this one, but that's alright. We'll use a toothbrush, an old cleaning toothbrush. And I'm doing this a little bit out of order, that's alright. So we're just going to put this flux on there. Just for good luck. I'm going to do this and I'm going to flux it again, just because I really want to make sure that these pieces are all really nice and up together. Now I'm also thinking, no, it'll still be easier to do this on here first, so we'll clean that one more time. We'll go back and we'll do some refluxing. Now, still very early in my soldering process, so hopefully we're able to get a bit of a nice seal here without causing any mischief. So I've had suboptimal seals in the past. And this is the big thing here, is this thread size does not actually match. It might match from that end. And that'll be cool. Right, so that's good. Again, I suppose you can never be too careful. I don't know. Now, I'll wipe that up. So, I'm going to turn this upright. I'm going to grab, this is the solder that we're using today. It's a very thin wire solder. Just cheap stuff, and that's okay, because our goals are to make sure that it actually gets into the parts, and we never want to use too much solder, otherwise that's a mistake, and we don't want to be making mistakes. We're okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are definitely fine. Definitely wouldn't beat yourself up if you do make a mistake. I know I make plenty, but some are just harder to clean up than others. A little bit too much solder is one of those. So just clipping off these extra little bits of solder here, positioning them evenly around, just so that we're hopefully going to get a good seal. Now, this project, this little thing that we're going and doing today, it's going to be fun for a couple of reasons, but namely because it's part of the problem I've been having with doing soldering is it melts at a lower temperature than the stuff that you're using it with. So, if we melt all this down and it connects, and then I try and connect these two pieces, I want to be able to do that without actually causing any of the first solder to melt. So that's the process. We're going to go through it, and if we make a mistake, we can try again and fix it. Worst comes to worst, this is the learning process, and that's what we're all about. That's what this whole channel is here for. So, turning this on, lighting this up. This is a very, very safe process. There we are. Okay, we've got a little flame. Very hard to see there. Bring this in. And we're just going to start heating this little joining out. And we really don't want to cause any extra issues. I think I've filled this up far too much of butane, that's alright. Just solder this around here, slowly warming up this joint. We get the solder to run. That's our goal, is we really just want that solder to fill in those parts not working. That's okay though, there we are. So we're not going to get anything from that other camera, that's okay. Get a nice seal. A little bit of mistake in terms of how we're doing this connection, that's okay. Part of the learning experience, just make an extra connection. Definitely want it in there, and we're missing the gap a bit, but that's okay. There we are. That was a good solid joint. It'll be a bit messy, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. Here to learn. There we are. That's a bit better. We're working on, we're just about to run out of gas on this one as well. That's okay. It's here. We've got some very interesting oxidizing happening on all those other bits. So cut that off. A little bit of water. There we are. Extremely hot. There we are. We've actually created a little bit of a strange steam contraption there. Yeah. I'll make it sit for a minute. I'll take a look at this next bit. So, that should be the first bit of soldering we need to do. Next bit of solder should be this bit to that bit. So, flat to flats, in my experience, are generally easier. Give a tooth on that, to a grip. Put that down. Get our little solvent again. Trying to get rid of the. Where are you going? Still quite warm. I feel like. Oop. Might be okay with a bit of an inversion. Something like that. There you go. You're still quite warm. There's a few bits of this extraneous solder on that we can work with. But otherwise, I can see solder on the inside of that joint there, so I'm going to, yep, I can't undo that now, so that's good. So, while we've got it here, a little bit of wet and dry. Bit of rinse. Alright, there's some more tooth on that. We're going to be joining these two bits together. Now, possible? Yes. Probably relatively easy to do. However, not something I've tried before. So, first time for everything. There we go. There we go. So, not got a lot of tolerance on that at all. Right. So that there is probably, we're going to probably have a bit of overspill on there as well. Again, that's not something I'm going to be super worried about. I'll try just get these pliers here to try and, yeah, there we are. Pull off a few of those gunky bits. Even come in there. There we are. Obviously there are far better ways of doing all of this, but nothing quite like learning, so really that's what we're in the process for. So now, next step again, flux. The flux specifically on this bit here now. This is where we want the solder to flow, and we don't really want to have any excess dribbling about. Get a little bit of a kiss. Yeah. Now, luckily these pieces are heavy. had an issue before where I've had two pieces that I've wanted to solder together, and the actual pressure of the solder flame had been enough to knock one of the pieces over, which is, I think you'll agree, when you're trying to put something together, suboptimal. So we really want this to be as nice and centered as we possibly can. That'll be good. I'm going to refill this butane torch, so just a normal butane dispenser, upside down, lets you insert the liquid. We're not going to put in as much this time. There we are. Now move that out of the road so you can see a little better, and we're going to take a few more pieces of solder and lie them around. So this is what I've seen is for people who are actually doing soldering, putting things together. It seems having the pieces actually on the object, actually ready to solder in place. Tiny little bits of bloody work, I tell you that much. Little bits of solder actually laid out on your model or your project, whatever you're doing, rather than doing what I was doing and trying to dip the stick in. So obviously you can't do the same thing for every project, but this is I'm hoping this is going to be good enough. Around. Right, so equally dispersed pieces of solder all around. Filled up butane torch. Really sad that other camera's not working because we've got this beautiful bokeh. Depth of field, amazing. But not so much when it won't record. So I have to find a proper SD card for that one. So anyway, again, this should be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Heat up this bottom piece a little bit. Move it over, and there we go. That's all you don't want to touch. Okay, and we'll say what's done is good, eh? I feel like that's good enough. So, got some nice, chunky, rosin-filled soldering wire as well. That's what I could do. Good projects that already have the flux already and raring to go, and you know what? Doesn't work as well as this cheaper stuff, so don't let the price tag fool you, kids. Right, now, not touching it this time. Start up the torch again. Like I said, we're going to try and heat up this little bottom section here. There we are, just let it get to know itself, you know, how lovely. Tip and trick for when you're doing, don't drink the forbidden sippy. There we are. Right, that's a little bit there, melted in. Might not have a connection, but that's okay. I can already see some of the solder up the top. Spillage on our solder here. But that's it. This is what we're doing this for. We really genuinely want to learn the process of doing things by doing them, rather than, I don't know, you never want to have that experience where you just give up, you don't want to do things. So this is my little warriors. We're getting melted. Now we're cooking with butane. It is not lost on me at all. This is a very strange project. But I feel like the skills that are required to do this are skills I want to have in other areas of my life anyway. So, there you go. Still a process. I think we finally got an actual little blend in there. Right. Now, cool. Turn that off. That's very hot. That's on. Warm. Okay. A whole lot of mess on the inside. Interesting. I think we might actually that's a piece I need to fix as well. That's a cool thing. And all we need to do is turn our little torch on. We'll put that in there. Now we got a little functional torch. Now all I'm going to do is try and line these up and solder this little thing on the bottom here, and then we'll be all hunky-dory. still not sure whether we want to add a bit of crystal in there, but that's okay. I'm going to do that off camera because I'm going to need some bloody, it's going to be a while. Here we are, we got our bits. Top section, middle section, bottom section, torch. Not going to bother doing anything with the front bit today. Might look at trying to make a emitter or something for a lens to attach onto there at some point, but working out how to make a collet for that, it's going to be hard. So we will just do the assemblies. So normal torch, it's obviously one of those ones that you can adjust. I'm going to leave it up in its full sort of section there. So that's in there. Take this section, it'll be soldered up together. All down, right, and this bit with a little hanger on it. Go to the top. I might polish this up later at some point. Otherwise, it's a nice little functional torch. Yeah. Right. Other shots of it, but yeah, there we are. Thank you very much, folks. Look, put that in there, just because it looks nice. But thank you very much, folks, and we'll see you another time. Whoop.